Someone got out of their vehicle and physically carried the mailbox, bent down, and tucked it under my tire. Sometimes being wrong leads to horrible things. But life goes on after you're wrong, believe it or not. You want to hear a universal truth? So Yahweh, Jehovah, and Allah are all the same thing. If we just give people the tool. No, that's bullshit. That's not. It's already been tried and it doesn't work. And now I lost my train of thought. God damn it. It'll come to me. Where the hell did the trail go? I get lost in the woods. All right, I'm getting ready for my walk this morning, and something really weird happened. I woke up and went outside for my routine morning bowl of marijuana, and as I was smoking, I saw that there was a mailbox tucked under the back passenger tire of my car. And my first thought was like, holy shit, someone's trying to set me up. Like they really made it look like I ran over our mailbox. But as I got closer and I was looking at it, I realized there's only on the first look would you think that this car was the car that hit the mailbox. Because the way the car is parked, it's a long driveway. Or no, it's like a 80-foot drive. No, 60, maybe. It's like a good 4 or 5 car lengths. Okay, the driveway, and then there's a little parking spot right next to the road, down to the driveway. So my car's next to the road. All the other cars are down by the garage, like far from the road. Like there's no way that. Anyway, so someone hit the mailbox, carried it over to my car, put it behind my tire, and drove off. Or someone ran over the mailbox, and the person who ran over the mailbox had a reason to make it look like I was the one that ran over the mailbox, which is a far more paranoid perspective. Am I going to bring Reed with me? I think I will bring a pipe with me. I will bring a pipe full with me. And I'll go down and smoke in the woods and talk. But yeah, the mailbox. So I was sitting there thinking, why would a stranger make it look like I was the one that ran over the mailbox? And first of all, it didn't even, if you, the second you got up there and looked at it, you realize there's no way that that was the car that ran over the mailbox, because the car, the mailbox was behind the car. It was behind the back passenger tire, right? So I would have had to back into the mailbox, which is a distance of about 35, 40 feet, back into it, and then drive and drag the mailbox behind the tire all the way over to the parking spot. And the mailbox wasn't even like wedged in there. There was no sign that it had been dragged or anything like that. There's no marks on the asphalt or the driveway. And it was very clearly just placed there. So anyway, me being paranoid, my first thought was someone's setting me up. Someone's setting me up. Oh my god, why would they do that? And then I start answering those questions, and it takes me to weird places, and which I don't know about that. Someone got out of their vehicle and physically carried the mailbox, bent down, and tucked it under my tire. And there's no way anyone would think that they ran over that mailbox themselves. Like the second you looked at it, it was like I literally just bent down and picked it up. Like I didn't have to kick it out or anything. It wasn't wedged in there. These are nice though. These hiking boots are actually pretty comfy. They're very stiff, but that's the whole point. Yeah, I think we're set. All right. It is completely overcast. Not a sign of rain though. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to rain, and there isn't water on the ground. Man, they snapped off the steel. Like yeah, they were aiming for that. I don't know. I think they're aiming for that. But there's the old adage, right? Don't attribute to malice what's explained by incompetence. Odds are it was a stupid kid looking at his phone that hit our mailbox and panicked and tried to cover it up and drove off. It's probably as simple as that. I'm still kind of hung up on the whole why a stranger would carry it down there and tuck it under my back wheel. And there's footage of them, right? Ostensibly, if they know that it was a brown truck, then that means that the camera can see the road. And if the camera can see the road, then they can definitely see whoever got out of the truck and put the mailbox behind my tire. Huh. It's weird. I didn't really sideswipe it though. It was like a direct hit. There's a metal bar that connects the wood to the ground. I guess there's some concrete down there or something. But yeah, it was like a good maybe a half inch thick. I'm not good with measurements like that, but it was a good sized round bar. Snapped right in half. So yeah, they hit the mailbox. I don't know. I ran into it. That's like some classic vandalism though, right? It could have been. There's a couple scenarios. There's a lot of scenarios. So number one, it could have just been incompetence, right? Someone looking at their phone, not paying attention, happens to hit our mailbox, freaks out, tries to cover it up, and leaves. Is that really the most likely scenario though? Like of all the mailboxes, of all the roads to swerve down and hit, there was that one. I don't know if that makes it more likely or less likely. There's other reasons too. There could be political reasons, like we have a Palestinian flag flying outside the house, so could have been politically motivated. But if it was that, there wouldn't be attempt to cover it up. Right? They wouldn't care. They would have just left it on the side of the road and driven off. So that's probably not what happened. Yeah, there's no way they would have like maliciously tucked it into the back. That's a little crazy. That's where you get. That's the paranoia right there. That's the paranoia. Thinking that. But I can sit here sort of a priori, looking at the evidence, trying to deduce their intent. And there's really no way to do that, is there? It doesn't matter. Intent doesn't matter in a legal sense. Well, intent does matter, but not. It's not the most important thing. It isn't. Cases don't sort of live or die on intent of the perpetrator. Even if they can't prove intent, you can still prosecute and convict. So intent really isn't knowable. But yeah, there are factors. There's a Palestinian flag. There's the I don't know. I'm gonna wait to talk until I get into the woods. Once I'm in the woods, I'll talk more. It is chilly, but not cold. Feels like a spring day, not a winter day. or a fall day, I guess. It's still fall. Almost there. We're passing the fire station now. It's a nice little fire station. Red brick. All the trees are bare. I can actually see through them a little bit. Like I can see the other side of the river from here. It's remarkable to me because mainly from the Midwest. Spent a lot of time there. I've lived all over the country, but primarily in the Midwest. So I'm used to wide open spaces. And up here, upstate, it's densely wooded. All right, here we are, heading into the woods. Here's one of the scenarios that occurred to me because I'm super paranoid, apparently. Uh, I thought either my sister or her boyfriend hit the mailbox accidentally and then tucked it under my car to make it look like it was me because my sister doesn't like living with me. That's one theory. But I don't think that's likely, especially since apparently there is some kind of, I'm assuming there's evidence of a brown truck. Assuming that. I'm assuming there's some kind of video. How else would they know it was a brown truck if they weren't home? That's the other thing is I don't think, and I remember hearing a crack yesterday. I just don't remember when. I just remember thinking it was weird. The sound was weird. It was definitely the sound of breaking wood. I'm trying to remember where I was when that happened. Was I outside smoking? I don't think I was. But if I was inside and I heard it, I feel like I was outside because I remember looking around when I heard the sound. I don't know. There's apparently video of it, so yeah, no, it just kind of freaked me out. Kind of freaked me out. Felt like I was being set up. Looked like I was being set up. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, someone was trying to cover up running over the mailbox and make it look like someone else did it, and that person just happened to be me. But how I interpret that was a little paranoid at first. I'll admit that. I do often assume malice in the place of incompetence. It's a very bad habit. It is a defensive strategy, but it's not always practically. Doesn't work out usually, especially if you're wrong, which I've been before. You get wrapped up in these conspiracies, and then you're just wrong. But you know, life goes on after you're wrong. Believe it or not, you can't actually be wrong and continue to be alive. It is not the end. But sometimes when people are wrong, they have bad information, for example, or they have a sort of chain of ideologies that all lead to a horrific, violent outcome. Uh, Nothing wrong with being wrong until there is. That was my point. Yes, yes. Sometimes being wrong leads to horrible things, right? Uh, there's that instinct to continue in wrongful thinking, not just because it's difficult to let go of something you thought was true, but because it'll come to me. What am I really saying? I guess what I'm really trying to get at is that being able to acknowledge when you're wrong, when presented with evidence that contradicts what you previously held to be true. And that's not something everybody can do. And that is a problem. That's the problem. That is a big problem. I really don't think I need to illustrate many examples in the current environment of 2024 in the year of our Lord. But it's pretty clear that there are problems with being wrong and being unable to admit that you're wrong. And when I say unable, I do not mean unwilling. I literally mean unable. Whatever mechanism of logic or genetic occurrence or where the hell did the trail go? Did I get lost in the woods? No. There's a trail marker right there. Oh, it bends around the tree. I'm stupid. And now I lost my train of thought. God damn it. My thinking is if we just give people tools. No, that's bullshit. That's not gonna work. It's already been tried and it doesn't work. Just give them the tools and they'll use the tools to better themselves. And who's they? Yeah, I'm just trying to make sense of things, I guess. That mailbox thing is weird, though. That is weird. Really put me on edge. Someone was trying to make it look like I ran over the mailbox. I think it was an accident. And it was an impulsive attempt to cover up a mistake. You ever know how things are going to turn out? Butterfly effect, right? One thing leads to another. Some seemingly insignificant occurrence begins a chain of causality that terminates in some remarkably complex and powerful thing, like a hurricane. That's the adage, right? The butterfly flaps its wing in Peru, and there's a hurricane in Florida. Now, do butterfly wings flapping actually cause hurricanes in Florida? I'm betting no. Uh, I think the things that cause hurricanes are pretty well known now. But a system or a chain of causality from seemingly insignificant changes to powerful and remarkable changes is always on the ground. It's always on the ground level. It's always when I was learning about the weather in the Navy, they taught us that weather starts a centimeter from the surface of the ground. That's where the weather starts. How hot it is, how humid, how much water's in the air. Are there other weather systems around it? Is there what's the pressure in the region? The air pressure. So No, I don't think butterflies flapping their wings cause hurricanes, but the fundamental concept, the that it's speaking to, that chain of causality, does exist. It is real. That, and in fact, I believe that's how everything works. I think there is a direct chain of causality all the way back. Uh, Thomas Aquinas beat me to it, and yes, there is a chain of causality all the way back. And he argued way long ago that eventually there must be what he called an uncaused cause. There has to be something that started the chain of causality, and whatever that thing is, making no other inferences, assumptions, or statements about it, whatever that thing is, the uncaused cause, that thing would be God, with a capital G, God. He goes on to argue that God, the uncaused cause, at the beginning of the chain of causality, is the God of the Jews and the God of Christians specifically, but it would have to be the Judeo God. And I say that because in order, they're the same God. It's the same fucking God, guys. It's not a different. They're both worshiping the same thing. Allah, Yahweh, and God, all the same dude, or Jehovah, I should say. That would probably be the more Anglican version. So Yahweh, Jehovah, and Allah are all the same thing. I mean that those concepts are all stemming from the same source, the uncaused cause, God, capital G God. So there's a couple things. First of all, if that is true, that there has to be an uncaused cause, and if we're going to call that thing God, we'll just label it God. God could be a fucking undiscovered quasi particle. That's why they were calling that thing at the particle collider the God particle, right? The boson, the uncaused cause, the thing that the fundamental particle of the universe, the very last tiny piece before there are no more pieces. It could be something like that. And you know what? The Higgs boson, or you know what? I'm not going to say that because the Higgs boson is not the God particle. But whatever that thing is, the uncaused cause, whether it is the Higgs boson or whether it's Allah, Yahweh, or Jehovah, or if it's this infinite cycle of karmic justice, or if it's uh, an endless cycle of rebirth into higher states of consciousness, and then ultimately nirvana for everyone and everything, every form of life. Uh, it's probably just something as basic as a wiggly bit of energy. Like, we're so far along in the story now, the story of humanity, that we know it's gonna be some kind of fucking wiggly bit of energy. It's I'm not saying string theory or whatever, but I'm just saying it it might just be that, guys. All sides seem to point that direction. You ever heard of the God of the Gaps? The God of the Gaps is this concept that as scientific knowledge grows, the hand of the creator, or these things that we once thought were caused directly by God or some kind of supernatural entity or forces, become known. We figure out the weather. We know how it starts. It's no amount of uh, animal sacrifice or Foods, no amount of food sacrifice or resource sacrifice is going to change the weather because it's just not how it works. So then what happens is that God kind of shrinks a little bit, right? It's like, oh, that's not God. That's a very definite chain of causality, and we know all or most or a good portion of those causes, and we can describe and measure them. And the cool thing is that no matter where you are in the world, if you think a certain way, that way being the scientific method, if a human being thinks scientifically in a literal sense, eventually either they or their children, whatever generations come after them, will discover exactly the same shit that we have. They'll just discover it again. If all this goes away and sentient cockroaches take over, like Hobo Johnson says, uh, it's going to happen again. They're going to figure out exactly the same shit. The weather's going to work the same way. The Earth is going to spin and rotate around the sun the same way. The Milky Way is going to be the way that it is. Everything is going to be exactly the same, except for the thinkers. The individual thinkers will be different. That's it. It'll be the same thoughts, and that's weird. That's weird. Why does that? Why is that a thing? Why is it if you think in a particular way, you will eventually come to know many things that are measurable and describable, and that explain the world around us? No matter where you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your belief system is, no matter what your culture is, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you think. I don't think scientifically. I'm not going to pretend that I do. I try to. But some people don't even have that instinct to try. They don't even know what it means to try to do that, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault at all. It's someone's fault. What instincts we have are completely, they're determinable, but they're also completely, uh, they can be unique. They can be unique, or or random enough to appear to be unique. I guess is a better way to put it. There's no accounting for human intelligence. There really isn't. I mean, there's an accounting. There's a literal accounting for it, but I guess what I'm saying is that there's no. I feel okay. So fundamentally, yes, there is going to be an answer to why humans seem to act so differently. So uniquely. Uh, there will be an explanation for that. But from my perspective, sitting here, when we don't know those causes in that chain of causality, it seems like there's no way to tell what human intelligence is going to do when you give it information. What will it do? Is it gonna build a fucking rocket ship, or is it gonna sit on an empty mason jar and shove it up its anus? There's no way to tell. You want to hear a universal truth? Sometimes it feels good to put things up your butt. Amen. Think about it. Every culture, everywhere, for human beings, as dudes and women, just humans, putting things up their butt. So yeah, literally a universal truth. Yep. It might just be as absurd as that. Comes down to a little bit of wiggly energy, so tiny and small and seemingly insignificant that it's almost a joke to call it after this paternal, almighty creator who loves us. Uh, that would be the ultimate joke, though, wouldn't it? That would be the ultimate haha. Like, you thought there was someone in charge this whole time. No, man. You want to know why shit happens? That thing wiggles a little weird sometimes. That's it. That's the cause of everything. The source of everything. That thing just wiggles weird sometimes, and that's it. That's all it is. A lot of the religions got it right when they say that, moral truths are written on your heart. That is true. Just not in the way that they think. So, what truths are being written and who's writing them? You know? It all just comes down to a wiggly bit of energy. It doesn't matter. They're still animals, right? Got instincts. Instincts are, you know, those innate that though they are those moral truths. They are those manners of being, those behaviors, those habits and routines and ways of thinking, and all of that matters right now here, and it's going to matter in the future, and it's going to matter forever somehow. I think that's faith. That's what Kierkegaard meant, I think. It's just fundamentally knowing that some way, somehow, whatever's happening, it matters somehow. It matters to us. So that matters, right? And if it doesn't matter to you, guess what? It doesn't matter to you. And that's just who you are, man. I don't know if it makes me sad or jealous, honestly. Like, I don't know if I wish they were thinking the way I'm thinking, or like I wish they were like me, or if I am jealous that they are not like me and that they do not think the way that I think. And their truths aren't my truths. Their world is not my world. These people that don't what? I guess people who just take it way too fucking seriously, maybe. Is that it? No, it's the violence. Yeah, that's really what it is. Violence, threat of violence, coercion. Um, that's the problem, right? Subjugating wills, minds, subjugating minds to think a specific way, not because of any reason really, except to make more money. Like if you want to get down to the wiggly bit of energy that makes America run, that's what makes America run, making money. That's what it is. That's why we're selling guns everywhere. That's why we're gonna build fucking I don't know, goddamn missile silos in orbit with Space Force. Just selling shit and making money. There's reasons for that. There's good reasons for that. What is money? Money is security. Money is power in our society. It is equivalent. Clearly, you can. I really don't need to say much more about that. It's if you are an American, especially, it's pretty obvious that if you have enough money, you can literally do whatever you want, and no one can stop you. And if that's not power, I don't know what the fuck power is. Like I don't know what do you define power as, right?